I decided just to come on because a lot of you are checking in saying hi, and I'd rather say hi to you in person than typing, because apparently this morning my typing is like not working. I'm hitting everything but the right key. So I want to say hello to Brenda and to Beth and to Jerry. Now, Beth is in Peterborough and Jerry, you are in North Carolina. We also have Dottie. Dottie is, where are you, Dottie? You're in Raleigh. Yes, that's right, Raleigh. And Millie, who is in Winnipeg. So as you come in, you have the ability to do so. I know a lot of you put it up onto your TV, and so you can't use the chat thing. But if you can, before you send it up there, just send me a little note, say hi, and let me know who you are and where you're from. Jerry is in North Carolina. I think you said around Atlantic Beach. Is that correct? Yeah. Let's see who else is checked in here. We're going to give people a few more minutes. I would like to get started pretty soon, but I know that when I say 10 o'clock, actually it's just 10 o'clock now, that a lot of you are trying to log in into your computers around that time, and it takes a few minutes to boot it up. So I'm just going to give you that few minutes. Today we're going to be doing Yin Yang yoga practice. It's very much like what we're used to doing in our gentle practice. We're just going to hold the stretches just a little bit longer than we normally would, not as long as a Yin Yoga class, so it's not technically Yin, but we will be having Yin on Friday. So if you love Yin Yoga and you want to be part of that class, it's at 1:30 Eastern Standard Time or New York time. So wherever you are in the world and whatever your time zone difference happens to be, you'll have to adjust that for that time period. I think it's 3 hours on the West Coast. Alyssa, good morning, Alyssa. She is in Thornhill, Ontario, Canada. And Jerry says, yes, I was correct. I remembered it, Atlantic Beach. The other thing I wanted to remind you about is that obviously you're here and you're watching, so you're okay with the time change, but in my area, we have put our clocks ahead an hour. So another reason why I thought today's class would be a little more relaxed and a little slower in the pace, simply because we're all trying to get used to that change in the time. This is the time change that I really don't like. I don't mind gaining that extra hour of sleep, but I hate losing an hour of sleep. So even myself, I'm thinking, yeah, today I'm taking it a little bit easier on me and you so that we can kind of adjust back into it. Take time with that. Remember that your body has to readjust to the different meal times. If you're trying to keep the same schedule as you had before. So just take your time, give it a week or two to get used to it. Beth, you love Yin. So do I. That's one of my favorite yoga practices. I love doing Yin. So how are we going here? All right, I'm going to make a few announcements. Now, if you haven't already noticed, if you're subscribed, you automatically get notifications, or something comes up in your feed, your subscription feed for the different places that you are subscribed to tell you that there's new content. And if you haven't discovered it already, I have uploaded, today will be the third in the series of meditations. It's just a meditation. There's no yoga practice attached to it. They're about 20 minutes or less long. A couple of minutes in the beginning looks repetitive if you're watching all of them, because not knowing which one somebody was going to watch first, I had to do the introduction part with each one of the meditations. So there's 3 different types of guided meditations that you can watch and you can participate in. Make sure you're comfortable. Make sure you're in a place where you're not going to get disrupted or interrupted. for that period of time and really allow yourself to relax into it. So I hope you enjoy those. I want to get your feedback, so please send me feedback. I've already had feedback from a friend of mine who said, too bad I didn't have sounds or music or something to help people go into the relaxed state. There's a couple of issues around putting sound on things that appear on YouTube. You have to have permission from the person who created the music, things like that. So that often costs money, and so that's not something I can afford to do right now. The other thing too is that because they are of the nature of you creating what you're hearing, what you're seeing, and what you're feeling, I give you the least amount of information possible so that you are allowed to build that meditation world yourself. So I would love to have music. I would love to have music in every one of our live classes, but there's a whole, bag of worms around that. So right at this point anyway, until I find somebody who's willing to give me some music and I get permission from them and YouTube accepts that permission, we're just going to play it the way it is right now. So if you haven't subscribed, make sure you press subscribe. It's so important, not just because I want to get those number counts up there. That's not all of it. Although it does make me feel good because I know that if the more people are subscribing, the more they're accepting that what I'm producing is a good thing. But also it helps to get the channel recognized by YouTube in general. It's a whole thing around, how many subscribers you have allows you to go up the rank in things when people are searching. So if you're enjoying these videos and you are very happy to be watching them, please make sure you've pressed subscribe. Now I know that you have to kind of sign up through Google if you haven't subscribed to things before. It's very safe. Minimal amount of information is given. I think maybe they expect you to have a Gmail account. I don't know about that. It's been such a long time and things change all the time. So if you can subscribe, I appreciate it. The other thing too is if you're not on my Facebook and you haven't liked my page on Facebook, please do that so that you can get any of the posts that I put into the Facebook page, Northern Zen Yoga. And also, once you've liked the page, you will be invited, if you would like to be part of the community page where we all get to put whatever we like, ask questions, tell people about our successes, things like that. So that's subscribe, Facebook, and also I'm on Instagram. So if you follow on Instagram, please follow me. I appreciate it. I have Win here from Winnipeg. Hi, Win. Thank you for your generous donation. I really appreciate that. And that's the other thing. These classes, I have stated that these classes, there's a $5 class fee if you feel that you would like to contribute to that, to donate to the production of these classes. And there is a page on my website, www.northernzenyoga.com, where you can go, and it's called Become a Patron, and you can decide if you would like to make a contribution, either for one class, for a month of classes, and then there's other options as well. But I know and I understand that a lot of you are not financially in a position to be able to do that. And if that is the case, then I accept that. There's nobody's watching to see if you're watching. There's nobody who's going to call you up and say, you watched this video, so you've been watching my videos, you should contribute. No, this is about the only time you'll ever hear me ask anyone to make a donation. So if you can, great. If you can't, don't worry about it. It's fine with me. So, and there's Millie. She's saying good morning to Win. Millie, are you also in Winnipeg? Millie M, are you in Winnipeg? Okay, so the other thing that I wanted to tell you was I had a letter written to me this week, and you probably all can relate to this at some level or another. And that is, she had let me know that she had got some x-rays and things done by her doctor for her knee. Now, a lot of us have problems with our knees, especially once we're past 50. It's quite natural for our bodies to start developing some aspects of arthritis in joints. It's osteoarthritis. It's the kind that is developed by the wear and tear of our joints, and quite often is it increases because of the lack of movement. Because we start to feel the movement starting to hurt, we stop moving it. So it's very important to keep your body moving in order to keep the arthritis from developing further. But she thought that she was having some serious arthritis going on, or maybe it was the meniscus, which is the pad that's in between the two bones in your knee and your thigh. And she went and had x-rays, and it turned out to be something that is more common than you would believe. Her knee, yeah, sure had a little osteoarthritis, but nothing that should have been causing her the discomfort that she was in. So it turned out to be her IT band, which is a big, big, big tendon that runs right from up here and comes right down here and wraps around below your knee. This is a really important tendon in your body it's attached to other muscles as well as it moves down the leg. This is a stabilizer. This helps to keep your knee, this bottom part of your leg, and your knee and your thigh connected to each other, so that you don't have a lack of stability when you step out and step down. This is a very, very important tendon in your leg. Now, what happens is a lot of us have jobs where we are sitting all the time. And as we sit, this starts to shrink. It starts to get smaller, tighter, and then the fascia starts to get tight around it and dry around it from lack of moving. Once you get up and you start walking around, you'll think either you've got hip pain or you've got knee pain or both. But what it is, it's this tendon, as it shrinks, it starts pulling up against the knee and starts pulling down against your hip. And it's one of these things where the forces of coming from both directions is causing pain in these places. So what do you do about that? Well, yoga definitely will help. And a lot of the leg stretches we do particularly target that particular tendon. So you may find that as you're doing yoga, you get some achiness in here as this begins to stretch. You have to live through that. It's very important that we keep these tendons in the sides of our legs working. If not, we'll be in pain. The second thing is you won't be able to have a really well positioned gait when you walk. You'll end up waddling. And you've probably seen it. People who kind of look like they're just shifting their weight from side to side as they walk. This is what has happened when these particular tendons in either leg start to shrink and shorten. You can't pick up your leg and throw your leg out and place it down properly because of the pain that's involved in it. So keep that in mind. If you're having difficulty in that area, sure, go get some x-rays, make sure it's nothing serious happening. But if it ends up being the IT band, then you know that yoga is going to help you and it's going to work through that. As a matter of fact, she had told me that a lot of the exercises that the physiotherapist gave her were yoga exercises that targeted those areas. So just wanted to share that with you. And if you have any similar stories that you would like to let me know about, feel free to email me anytime. And you can also message me on Facebook. Okay, so let's begin. First of all, I'm just going to have a sip of my tea. I recommend that everybody has some fluid with them, something to sip on if you feel a little dry. I do a lot of talking, so I dry out fast. And let's get onto our bottom. And I won't be able to say hi to anybody now because I don't have my glasses on, so I can't see the small print. Let's get into our easy pose. And most of you have watched me before, so I don't have to explain to you that your easy pose won't have to look like my easy pose. It could look like this. Or you might have chosen today to sit in a chair to do this practice. Most of the gentle yoga practices can be done in a chair. We did chair last week. You saw how similar it was, just in a different position. But I prefer, if you can get down on the floor, that you start to work from a mat. So whether your easy pose looks like this, or like this, or like this, or if you can get your heels closer but your knees are way up here, whatever it looks like, it is what it is. Just allow yourself to relax so that you can start to feel the stretch happening in this position. We want to always go into that uncomfortable, achy place. We don't want to not feel anything, but we certainly never want to feel pain. So it's critically important that you promise me anytime you're doing yoga, whether with me or anyone else, that you never push yourself into the pain zone. And you know what pain is. Pain's different. Pain's sharp, it's sudden. You want to almost make a sound to relieve that suddenness of it happening. And you can point to it. You can say it's right here, or it's right here. That's pain. Achy stretch is when you feel the muscles and you feel the joints trying to move into a different position. You want that within your tolerance level, but you don't want pain. So find your easy pose. And we're going to sit up nice and straight. We're going to lift up, but let our shoulders relax. So we're lifting up through the rib cage, but we're letting the shoulders drop down. Don't bring your shoulders up toward your ears. Let them drop down. Let them slide down your back. Just sit for a moment. Close your eyes and breathe. Just breathe your normal breathing pattern right now. Start to connect to your breath. Breathing in and breathing out. Then you can rest your hands on your lap or on your legs, whichever feels comfortable, palms up, palms down. That doesn't matter. Just follow what feels natural. Let's take a deep breath into our belly. And on the exhale, push your belly back in, pushing it out through the nose. So we're going to be breathing in and out through your nose if you're able to. If you can't, just part your lips very slightly, but really try to work the breath through the nose. Inhaling deeply into your belly. Let your belly push out. Exhaling through the nose. Continue to take some of those deep breaths, breathing into the belly. And exhale, push the belly back in and up. We're going to begin this class. You can let your eyes come open if you like. We're going to begin this class with some pranayama. Now, pranayama is a yoga word for the breath, for breathing. Prana being the energy that we bring in, and yama being the breath as we push out the breath. So we're going to do what's called alternate nostril breathing. Now, it takes a couple of tries before you start to get the hang of it, so don't be worried if you get confused at first. We're going to use our thumb, and you can use any of the other fingers that feel comfortable. You can use your first finger, or most people will use either one of these two fingers. We're going to place our thumb against our nose, and I'm using, and I don't know how you're visually seeing me, but I'm using my right hand. You can use whatever hand feels comfortable. That's not the important part. So you're going to drop your thumb against your nostril, and you're going to decide which of these two fingers is going to feel more comfortable for you to press into the other nostril. So in this particular pranayama, we're going to inhale through one nostril, then close it off, exhale through the opposite nostril. Then we're going to inhale back through the nostril we just exhaled out of, close it off, and then exhale out the other side again. So let's just do a couple just to get going. So we're going to begin by pressing our thumb into our nostril, and I'm going to tell you this is my right nostril. So if you're working with the opposite hand, just use the right nostril on your face. So we're going to inhale through the left nostril, inhaling in. We're going to take our finger, close off the air for a few seconds, and then we're going to exhale through the opposite nostril. We're going to inhale again through that same nostril, close it off, release the other side, exhale out that nostril. Inhale again, inhaling up. Close off both nostrils for a second, release the opposite nostril. Exhale out, inhale back in again. Close them off, exhale out the opposite nostril. So take a moment, you might feel a little dizzy. If you're feeling a little bit of dizziness happening, that's okay. Close your eyes for a second or go stare at an object that's just away from you and a little bit higher till you start to feel your body relax down again. So you can see that this way of breathing is a little bit different than we're used to breathing. As a matter of fact, our nostrils alternate on their own, but they stay for a period of so many seconds or a minute, breathing in and out through one side, and then it switches to the other side. So in this case, we are controlling the nostrils in and out breath. And that's why some people feel a little bit dizzy or disoriented after doing this. So let's do a few more rounds. Going back, placing your thumb against the right side of your nose, or if you're using your left hand against the left side, it's not really important. What's important is that one nostril is shut off. The other one is your finger is waiting. So we're going to inhale. Inhale deeply into your belly. Shut off both nostrils, hold your breath, and then exhale through the nostril your thumb was on. Inhale back in again. Close off both nostrils. Release the one your finger is on. Exhale out. Inhale back in again. Close them off. Switch nostrils. Breathe out. Inhale in. Close them off. Switch nostrils. Exhale. Inhale back in again. And release. And just let yourself go back to your natural breath. Take a moment, close your eyes, let your body settle back down again, and just feel what that experience did for you. We're going to begin by moving through the 6 directions of the spine. So we're going to inhale, bringing the arms up as high as we can toward each other. So if you're able to bring them all the way up, great. If not, just bring them as high as you can, touching fingers together. And on the exhale, very, very slowly, we're going to come down. Try to go as slow as you can. Head it down toward the mat. Inhale, bringing the hands back up again. And we're going to go very slow here as we inhale. And if you run out of places to inhale to, you can quickly take a breath before you come back down again. But we're trying to do our best to match our breath to our movement. Very, very slowly. Inhale up one more time, reaching up, stretching. Stretch through your fingers, tighten up some of the muscles near the shoulders to help lift. And on the exhale, dropping the hands slowly, slowly back down. Notice how heavy your arms are starting to feel. One more time, we're going to reach up, nice and slow going up, inhaling as we come up. And if you're able to bring your fingertips together, we're going to touch fingertips together. If not, if you're out here, you're going to look up toward the ceiling. And if you've brought your fingertips together, you're going to look up toward your fingertips. And on the exhale, we're dropping our chin to our chest as we come down. So we're going to stay here. We're going to stretch the arms away from us and press our chin into our chest. Remember, you're just not hanging out here. You're not on the floor. You're not touching the floor. You're actually trying to reach for each side of your mat. So you're going to feel the tension going right through your arms. And they're going to get a little tired. They're going to start to feel tired. So we're going to rotate the palms forward. And we're going to press the arms back behind us slightly, still tucking our chin down. And then gently release them to the floor. Feel how that feels on your arms. So even though your arms are tired, we're going to inhale them up one more time as high as we can. And this time we're going to do the side bend. So we're going to drop over to one side, drop your right hand down, and reach. Now press both of your bum cheeks into your mat or your cushion, whatever you're sitting on. And then try to reach for the other side of the room. We're going to hold it here. So I want you to breathe into this. If you're finding your shoulder, having your arm up like this is really hurting, instead drop your hand down and just try to work on lifting the elbow up toward the ceiling. If you find this is really, really hard on you, you can grab the other side, the other shoulder, and just work on lifting the rib cage up. For those of you that can, though, let's stretch and reach for the other wall. Come back up to sitting upright. Bring the other arm up toward, so the two hands come toward each other. Take the inhale here, and on your exhale, you're going to drop the other side down and reach. So the reason why I tell you to make sure you're pushing both cheeks into the mat is so that you're not lifting up and thinking that you're going into a stretch. Instead, we keep pushing our bum down and we keep lifting our rib cage up here. And this is where we get the stretch right in here. It's beautiful waistline stretch. And we're also stretching the spine. All of the muscles that are attached to the ribs along here are getting a good stretch. And again, on this side, if you find it's too much, you can put your hand here, work on the elbow, or you can grab the other side and just work on just lifting up the rib cage. Let's come back up again, sitting up nice and straight and tall, inhaling up. And this time we're going to come into the twist. So gently and slowly, you're going to move into your twist, bringing the right hand behind you and the left hand to your leg. And we're focusing on pushing the shoulder blade back, just the shoulders. If you can and your neck allows, you can look over your shoulder. And we're going to take several breaths here. Just breathe deeply here. And with each breath, see if you can lift up your rib cage and push your shoulder back just a little teeny tiny bit. Little micro movements. That's all you need to worry about. Nothing huge, nothing big. Just feeling that stretch getting deeper and deeper. Your belly should be forward and your bottom should be flat on your cushion or your mat. One more nice deep inhale here. And slowly, as you come back to center, raise your arms up. reaching up. Take an inhale and an exhale. And then inhale, exhale. Let's go to the other side. Finding our stretch on this side. It might be the same or might be a little different. A good practice too, and when you're doing twists, is to tighten up your core muscles by pulling your belly in as you lift up your rib cage. And if you can look over your shoulder, getting a stretch up this way. Breathe deeply. Gently come back to center again. Let's inhale, stretching up, nice big stretch up if you can, wherever you can reach to. And then we're going to bow to the earth. And I'm just going to slide off my cushion because it's getting a bit too high. And we're going to bow to the earth and bring our belly down toward our lap. So even if you're out here like this, or you're up here like this, you're still focusing on bringing the belly down. Bringing your belly down toward your legs, toward the floor. Keep your chin up for now. Come down as low as you can get. Take a deep, deep, deep breath in. Pushing out your belly, and on your exhale, see if you can drop down just a little further. So if you have a block, we're going to be here for a few breaths. So if you have a block and you need to have something to rest on, or if you feel you're really high up and you need something, you can use blocks this way, this way. Use your blocks. Blocks are your best friend. For those that can, we're going to drop our belly down deep and think about pressing your hips down. Focus on the hips. You're going to feel the tension in your hip joint. Remember, you're breathing deeply here. Deep breaths in and out. Constantly keeping the pressure on to push your belly down toward the floor. Come up very slowly. Use your hands. Push you back up again. So I want you to understand, and those of you that haven't heard me talk about this before, I didn't start out like this. 8 years ago when I began my yoga journey, I was like this. This was me in this easy pose position. And when I came forward, I probably couldn't even come this far forward. I would hang on, and it would be a lot of effort to try to get my belly forward. The work is in the movement. So whether your movements don't look like they're mine, whether they look like they're very shallow movements and you haven't moved much at all, as long as you can feel it, you're doing it. Okay, sitting back up again. Let's come down one more time. So get yourself ready. Inhale, you can stretch up through the rib cage if you want to do that. Exhale, bow to the earth. This time we're going to plant our hands down. And we're very, very slowly going to walk ourselves over toward our right knee so that our chest is over top of our thigh, or as close to it as we can get today. So even if you're way up here and it looks like this, that's what it looks like. And we're going to just relax here and breathe, keeping a little bit of pressure on, just trying to press our belly down to our thighs. Try not to lift up your cheeks so that you're doing one of these to get there. Make sure this side of your bum cheek is touching your mat or your cushion. Take a few breaths, deep, deep, deep breaths. We're just going to breathe here for a few more seconds. And then very, very slowly, without getting up out of that position, we're going to move across to the other knee. Oh, Suzanne is here. And my hummingbird in Wisconsin is here as well today. Welcome. Breathe into the stretch. Slowly, slowly make your way back to center again so that we center our spine. Walk your hands back toward your body, coming upright. Inhale your arms up. And this time we're coming back down and we're going to come into the back stretch of the spinal column. So we're bringing the hands behind us and you're going to bring them back as far behind you as you can. If you can't get out much further than here, drop your hands down to the floor. If you can get right behind you and pull your shoulder blades toward each other, you can press your fingertips or your knuckles down into your mat. Wherever you're at, whether it's out here, 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 or here. Push down into your mat and lift up your ribs, lifting your chest up, and you're going to feel your back curl a little bit, and then relax your head back. So let's take an inhale before we do that. Inhale, exhale your head back, and you're going to feel a big stretch in the front of your throat. So push down into your mat until you feel that whole sensation intensify. And then take some deep breaths, opening up the rib cage, making some space in there. Couple more breaths. Inhale, exhale, and release completely. Now we went through this whole thing and we kept our legs basically in the same place that they were when we started. So now we're going to switch them up a little bit. So you have a leg that's naturally in front of the other one, whichever way your legs are, unless you have your feet together. Then if you have your feet together, you just stay where you are. So whatever leg you had in the front, you're going to bring it to the back and you're going to bring the back leg to the front. So we're going to do the forward fold again. And we're going to do the back curl again, but with the position now changed for a seated position. So let's inhale, reaching up. So the first one we're going to do is the forward fold, coming forward, bringing our belly down toward our feet, toward our lap, toward the floor, dropping it down. Remember, you can use your props. Bring it down as deeply as you can today. Feeling a good stretch, but no pain. I'm going to breathe here for a few more breaths. And we're going to come up onto our fingertips and walk our hands back toward our body, coming upright again. Let's take another inhale, reaching up. Exhale, coming back down, putting our hands to the ground this time, and just gently walking our fingertips over toward the right knee, trying to bring our chest and our belly over in that direction as far as we can go. Take a deep breath in again. Exhale and try to relax that belly down just a little further. And breathe here. We're going to be here for a few more breaths. Be careful your cheeks are lifting up. Make sure they're pressed down into the mat. Up onto your fingertips and very slowly make your way across to the other leg. Take a deep breath. And dropping down again toward this knee. And let's move back to center. Walk your hands back toward your body. Inhale your arms up. And on the exhale, we're going to bring them back behind us as far as we can do that. Pressing our fingertips or knuckles down into our mat. Pulling the shoulder blades in toward each other. Take a deep breath in. Lifting up your rib cage, pushing down into your mat, and as you exhale, let your head drop back as far as it can go today. Stretching the front of your neck, and take a few deep breaths here. Feel your rib cage open and close. And slowly release. Coming back to a neutral position. Reach up, nice big stretch up, bring your palms together if you can. Even if you're out here, bring your palms together and come down into Namaste, our prayer pose. Pushing those hands together. So we're going to stay in prayer pose for just a few seconds. Some of you may be having difficulty getting the hands together, especially as you start to come down deeper. So that's what you're going to work on as we breathe here. Pushing your palms together. So find the place where you can push them together and then try to bring them down just a little farther until you find the place where they start to separate, and then that's where you stop. But don't go down any lower than your heart center. Take a few breaths here. Close your eyes if you like and just feel your body, what it's feeling. Take your hands away from each other, shake them out. We're going to stretch our legs out, and if you feel the need to, you can shake your legs out, your knees out. Windshield wiper them a little bit. So we're going to come into our stretches for our hips. So the first one we're going to do is the half butterfly. Our right leg is extended out. The left leg is going to be pulled in toward the groin. So bring it in as far as you can today. This is it. That's it. You can get to about here. Fantastic. And if you can bring it all the way in and keeping both cheeks down on the mat, that's the end. That's the end goal. So our leg is extended out in front of us. In this particular time, if you need to bend your knee a little tiny bit in order to get less pressure on your hamstring, but be able to get the hip to rotate, that's okay. There's two things going on in this forward fold. We have the rotation of the hip joint by bringing our belly down toward a thigh, and we have a counter thing that's happening as that pelvis starts to rotate. It's pulling on the hamstring on the back of your leg. So the only way you can relieve that extreme tension on the hamstring is to slightly bend the knee. So if you need to bend your knee a little bit just to take the pressure off, but be able to get your belly down farther, go for it. So this is really only a secondary thing, getting the hamstring stretch. So let's take a deep breath in, nice straight body. Inhale up, lift up your ribs. Exhale, push your belly down, bringing it down as close to your leg as you can. Breathe here. We're going to stay here for several breaths. So just relax, breathing in and breathing out. And with each exhale, imagine the pressure that you're feeling, whether it's in the back of your leg or in your hip joint, is being released with each breath. Take one more breath in, nice deep breath. Exhale. And walk your hands back, bringing yourself upright again. You can shake that leg out a little bit. We're going to switch legs. Extending this leg out now. Now, both legs are different. You can see even on this side, this knee doesn't fall to the floor as easy as the other one does in this position. Again, you can bend your knees slightly if you want to release the pressure, if there's too much pressure on your hamstrings. So leg is dead out in front of you. Take a deep breath in, lift up through the rib cage. Exhale, push your belly down. Your chin up for a little bit till you feel. And a lot of the feeling you might be getting as well in these particular stretches is the hip, the back, and the hamstring. All of these things are connected in one way or another, so they're all engaged in the stretch. On this side, I feel it much more in my back. I'm going to be here for several breaths, so relax yourself here. Breathe and just let your body weight bring you down deeper. Take one more nice, long, slow, deep breath in. Exhale. And using your hands, push yourself back to upright. We're going to extend both legs this time, and this time I do want you to keep your knees slightly bent. Don't flatten your legs out. We're not trying to engage the hamstrings here. We're going to stretch our back. So let's take a deep breath in and reach up. Nice big stretch up. And on the exhale, we're tipping forward, pushing our belly down. So we're getting that rotation at the hip. We're also stretching the back. So you're going to maybe feel this much more in your back than you did before. Push your belly down toward your thighs. See how deep you can get. And even if you're up here, even if your knee bends have to be here because of your knees, keep it in mind that you're pushing your belly into your thighs. That's what you're going for. Coming down. And of course, you're going to feel a little bit of tension in the back of the leg. That's okay. It's mostly going to be about stretching your back. Breathe here. If you can reach your feet, grab your toes and use them for leverage to pull your chest down deeper. Breathing all the way through this. Don't hold your breath. And very, very slowly, let's come back up. And shake out your legs. Last hip stretch, we're going to come into cobbler pose. So cobbler pose, not quite the same as butterfly. We're going to have at least a handprint space, at least, between our heel of our hand and our fingertips if we put them down to the ground, between our groin and our heels. So you should have at least that much space there. So you kind of have a diamond shape in here. This space between your heels and your body is where you're going to be aiming your belly. So you want to try to bring your belly down toward that space. Your chest will be coming down to here. Now, for some of you, pulling your feet even as close as I've got it is difficult. So find your diamond. Your diamond might be a couple of handprints wide. That's okay. But the minimum amount of space that you do not go further than is the handprint. So make sure you have at least that. If you have more, that's okay. Open them up toward the ceiling like a book so that they're opening up like this. So the soles of the feet are facing toward the ceiling. So be careful about this though. If you have osteoporosis, if you have weakness in your ankles, you may not want to be pushing these feet too far over into the open position. Just be gentle with yourself. Look for the warning signs if you're feeling too much stress in the joint. Take a deep breath in, straighten up. Inhale. On the exhale, keep your chin up and bring your belly down. You can get your elbows outside of your knees. Fantastic. Bring them on the outside of the legs. If you can't, if you're still here, that's okay. As long as you're feeling it, you're doing it. We're going to take several breaths here. We're going to be here for a few seconds more. So relax into it. Once you've got your belly in position and it's as far down as you can, then you can relax your head toward the floor. The weight of your body is going to help to stretch the joints. Using your hands, push yourself upright, nice and slow. Help your knees up, stretch your legs out. Lean back on your hands, and we're going to windshield wiper our feet from side to side. So we're going to separate our feet just a little bit. We're going to take our feet and we're going to gently from the hip. So we're not trying to force anything here. We're just rolling our feet toward each other. So your knees are going to be pointed toward each other and the hip is doing the work here. This is called internally rotating your legs. Some of us are more able to do this than others. That is something about your hip joint, the way that your hip is configured. However, for everybody, it's a good stretch. You want to feel it. You want to feel it right in here, in this area of your hip joint. So gently, gently put pressure there. Try to push your toes toward the floor. Slowly release. And now we're going to go the opposite direction. So we're going to open the feet up and try to push the sides of our feet toward the floor. So for me, this is very easy. The other way was more difficult. And this is because of the way my particular hip joint is configured. For you, going and trying to push your feet to the side might be harder. So again, look at your knees, look at your feet. They should be in the same direction. The knees are pointed in the same direction as your toes are pointed, so that you're working the hip joint. So this is called externally rotating the hip joint. And it's just one of those things that depending on your particular configuration of the way that your ball joint is, the size, the shape, whether it's a big one or a small one, that you have more flexibility one direction than the other. And some people have both. And some people have difficulty in both. So gently bring your feet back up, straight again. Shake your legs out if you think you need it. And you're going to come down onto your back. Working our way towards shavasana. So come down on your back and bring your knees up to your chest and roll on your back until your back feels nice and soft. You've been on your forward folds for a long time, so your back might be just a little protesting. If you have a blanket or a small pillow, I'm just going to use my pillow today. Put that behind your head. You don't want anything that's very high. You don't want anything where your chin is pushed forward, but you want something that your cranium is resting comfortably in. Bring your knees up, roll on your back. You can go in circles. If you do circles, go one way for a while and then circle the other way for a little while. Bring your knees up as high as you can into your chest. Drop your hands down to the floor. Let your shoulders relax down. Take a deep breath in, and on your exhale, roll onto that hip, but try to keep both shoulders touching down. So you may only go this far before your shoulder wants to come up. Listen to your body, that's where you stop. If you can come down deeper, maybe one leg can drop down, but maybe the other one can't. This is also about the internally rotating ability of the hip joint. So just let them be. If you feel really like you need something here, like this is too much stress, put your block there between the two. Keep pushing both shoulders into the mat. And if you like, you can look at the opposite hand. Sometimes that helps to keep the shoulders planted down. Take a deep breath in here. Exhale through the mouth. Let's inhale our knees back up to our chest. And then when you feel ready, just roll onto the other hip, onto the left side. Drop your knees to the left. Then look to the right. Breathe deeply. Side out. Bring your knees back up. Roll on your back a little bit more again. And then very slowly stretch yourself out for shavasana. Take up lots of space. Spread your arms wide, spread your feet wide. Take deep breaths in through the nose and let them go through your mouth. Breathing deeply. We're going to do a little meditation, guided meditation. It's a new one that I haven't recorded yet. So get yourself very comfortable in your shavasana. At one point through the meditation, I will leave you to have some time on your own. You'll hear this. When you hear it a second time, it's time to come back from what you were doing while I left you alone. So that's just to give you some awareness so you can finish a conversation perhaps, or finish whatever it was that you were doing at that time and get ready to return back. So take those deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth until you get very, very comfortable. Reposition yourself any way you need to in order to make sure that you are not going to be distracted by your body. If you need to put a cushion or something underneath your knees, that may help your back feel better, do that. And if you have a blanket, pull the blanket up over you so that you're warm, because right now you're going to start to cool off and the coolness might distract you. Oh, I just want to say hi to Janet. Hi, Janet. Okay. Taking those deep breaths in, inhaling through the nose and let them go through your mouth. Each breath helping you to become a little more relaxed. Imagine yourself and your mat are on a road in the middle of the mountains. It's very forested there. It's an old road. Nobody really uses it anymore. And it's more of a dirt track than anything else. So you get up off of your mat and you look around a little bit. You notice on either side of the road there are tall, towering trees. Beautiful trees everywhere. And the road is headed up a slope, up the side of the mountain. So you begin to walk up that road. As you walk, just look around. Notice what you see. On one side of the road, you notice that the trees seem to be going downward in the slope. And to the other side, you'll notice that trees seem to be angling more upward in a slope. And dispersed among the trees are craggy rocks shapes that are pointed up, looking like chunks of granite that had just been left there. You look upward and the sky is blue, beautiful blue, with small clouds floating. It's a warm day, but not too warm. You keep walking along the road, feeling that incline starting to climb higher and higher. And a little ways in the distance, you notice that the road is going to start to turn slightly so that you can't see the end of the road. It seems to disappear around a bend. Finally, you get to the point where you're coming around the bend in that road and you find yourself at a place where there is a lookout. A spot that was created for people to pull their cars over, perhaps, or to stand and be out of the way of any cars going by so they could look out over the beautiful vista. As you glance out over this area, you notice how far up you are. And you can see the patchwork of all of the grassy lands, the farmlands, different colors of green and yellow and brown. You can see small houses off in the distance. And you notice there's a creature there, a small animal that has made its way up the road behind you. You're not afraid of it, and it is not afraid of you. And it is finally reaching you, and it has just decided just to sit there beside you quietly while you look out over this beautiful view, this amazing view. And you take a deep breath in, and the air is so fresh and clean. You can smell the trees. You can smell the grass and the earth. And then you realize that just a little ways farther along, there is a bench. And on that bench, there's somebody sitting there. You start to make your way over to that bench. As you get closer, you realize you know the person that's sitting at the bench. They see you, and they ask you to come and sit with them. And so you do. Sit down on the bench beside them. And I'm going to leave you here to have a conversation. So I'm going to Be gone for just a few minutes while you have conversation. And when I ding the chime again, it'll be time to come back. It's time to say goodbye to the person you were talking with. Say your goodbyes and then slowly get up. Walk over to the edge again and have that one last look at this beautiful, beautiful scenery below you. You notice that the animal that had been with you is still there, and together you start to walk back down the hill, walking down the slope now and around the bend, headed back to your mat. And as you walk back, take a little time to look at what you're seeing again. The trees, the small bushes, the shape and the color of the rocks that are sticking out through the ground. Hear the sound of your feet as it walks on the gravel path. Notice the shapes of the ruts in the road. Traffic has gone back and forth over the same places. And then finally you arrive back to your mat. And when you get there, take another breath in and smell that beautiful, beautiful smell, that delicious smell. All the oxygen in the air, in the trees. And lay back down again on your mat. And when you hear the chime again, it's time to open your eyes and start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. Give yourself a lovely long body stretch. Bring your knees up into your chest. Hug yourself. Thank your body. Thank it for everything it does for you every day. Something we take for granted. And then rolling over to one side, it doesn't matter whichever side feels most natural. Take a few more moments just for you before you get back up again. And when you feel ready, you can join me in easy pose again. Whatever position your legs feel comfortable in at this point. We'll close our class today by one beautiful Om. We'll take a breath in and a breath out, and then we'll inhale for Om. So let's inhale, exhale, inhaling for Om. Rub your hands together, generating some of that beautiful prana that you've already created in your body. And as you do this, think of the places inside you that are talking to you right now. Places that are a little achy, need a little love, a little energy sent to them. Close your eyes, place your palms over your closed eyes, and when you breathe in, open them. And send that energy right in there. And on your exhale, palms out to ceiling, sending the energy back to the universe, scooping up just a little piece to bring back to heart center. Namaste. Namaste, everyone. Namaste. Okay. Question period. If you have questions, if you have anything you'd like to share with us, please type it in right now. Ask me. I'll be here for a little while longer if you want, and we can talk a little bit. Speaking of talking, I'm just going to refill my tea. I still have space if anybody is interested in being part of the Zoom call. As a matter of fact, I was on a Zoom call with some lovely ladies all over the world. There was a lady from Costa Rica, one from Spain, I think one was in South America, maybe Argentina. I can't remember all the places that they told me, but they get together once a month and have a little meditation time and a little quality time with each other. Of course, their language that they speak is Spanish, and I speak no Spanish, but they accommodated me for that particular time, even though I got there late because I had the time screwed up. But this thing that I was liking to do in April, on April the 7th, at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, would be something similar where we spend half an hour or so just having a little bit of time together, talking and getting to know the faces with the names. I think that's really important because then we can feel like we are really part of a community as opposed to these abstract ideas about who and what we are. We're all older ladies for the most part. We all got sags and bags. We all are not going to look as great as we did when we were 20. So let go of all that and just think about how wonderful it would be to meet women from Canada, from the UK, from other places in the US, and across Canada as well. So please, if you haven't already asked me to be part of it, send me an email and tell me you're interested. I'll be sending out the link fairly soon. I was just waiting until we got a few more people compiled into it, and then we can have a lovely chat and some tea together. Okay. Millie says, she says, okay, she's not quite sure why sometimes I say inhale through the nose and exhale through the nose, and sometimes I say inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. So, generally speaking, we should be breathing in and out through our nose. It's the best way to breathe, and I'm sure there's a lot of scientific reasonings behind it. It's the way that the yoga practice breathes. Because as you breathe in through your nose, it goes up into your sinuses. You have lots of little places in there for bacteria and dust and things like that to get caught up before it goes down to your lungs. That's the first thing it does. It cleans a little bit of the air out. And then the other thing is it either heats or cools it, depending on the time of the year. If it's very hot out, it will help to cool down the air. If it's very cold out, it will help to warm up the air before it goes into the lungs. That's the main reason for breathing in and breathing out through the nose. But when I tell you to breathe out through the mouth on your exhale, there is a sympathetic response that happens when you take that sigh. If any of you have ever sighed, you understand when you do that, you suddenly tell your body to relax. That That is a relaxation response. So although I don't want you to be too relaxed throughout most of the yoga practice, there are periods and places where I do want you to have a relaxation response. The places I want you to relax is obviously would be when we're starting to go into shavasana. It helps to release any tension that you have still hanging on in there in your body, laying on your back, and allow you to sort of start to melt down and become soft on the mat. When we're doing a practice and we're in some kind of a forward fold or something like that, or we're in a position, especially if we're bending our belly forward and we're trying to relax down over our leg, the same thing applies. If I tell you to take an inhale through your nose and an exhale through your mouth, it will help you to let go of the tension that is naturally trying to build in your body as you try to resist letting go and going deeper into the stretch. It's a natural thing. Everybody does it. We all tense up when we think we're going to maybe hit the pain threshold. So taking the deep breath in and releasing it through your mouth has that sympathetic response of relaxing the body so that you relax the tension out of your body. I hope that makes sense. Best rule of thumb is that just don't worry about it until you hear somebody tell you to do it. Anybody else have a question? Janet wanted us to know that she got our time change wrong, so she couldn't make it. And she just sent me a quick note saying that she's really sad that she missed the class, but she's going to watch the video later. So if you enjoyed this class, you know the video will be uploaded very shortly after we're done here, and you can always watch it again at your leisure. It's a good one to do, I think, particularly in the evenings, because you're not really standing and stretching and doing anything too active, and it will help you to relax, be able to go to sleep. So Millie says it made sense when I told her about breathing in and out through the nose or the mouth. Okay, anybody else have a question? Has anybody done, of this group that's left, done the meditation videos, and what kind of experience was that for you? And did you like this meditation I did, the one walking on the road in the mountains? Love dead air. I'll give you a few more seconds to get your courage up to send me a message. If not, I guess it would be time for us to go. Thank you, by the way, for joining me today. I love doing live classes. I wish I could see all your lovely faces, but it's the next best thing we could do for now. Hopefully we can keep this up even after COVID. Once you get out there and you start to get out in the world again, we'll hopefully be able to keep doing this, if not twice a week, at least once a week, depending on how many people come for the live class. The Friday class hasn't got too many visitors yet, not like Tuesdays, but I'm hoping that maybe it'll change. Keep in mind, once the really hot weather comes, people will be indoors a little more. Oh, you're talking, Millie, are you talking about the meditation videos that I just posted this week? If you are, when you're subscribed, you automatically get a notification for anything new that's posted. Otherwise, you're at the mercy of just being able to catch them on the feed, or if you go to my actual channel, because for every YouTube person out there that has a YouTube channel, you can actually Google their channel. You could say Northern Zen Yoga channel on YouTube, and it will take you to the video feed. So if you go to the channel, you'll see all of the various videos that I have done over the last year almost. It's almost been a year since I started. And there's quite a few of them. There's, what am I up to now? Something like 50 or something like that videos, all different types, all different things. But once you subscribed, you automatically get a message saying that I posted a new video. And that way you can always know what's the latest videos that are being up on the feed. Yeah, so now that you're subscribed, you should be getting to do it. You should be able to see it. Oh, Millie says, thank you, Millie, for this, that today in her meditation, she spoke with her mom who has been dead for a very long time. So that's a very important thing. These meditations, they are really about taking time mentally to be able to talk with somebody who you feel you haven't been able to or has passed away, that you have something important to tell them. Quite often in my meditations, when I do them, I'm speaking to people who have passed on. And there are things that I have wanted to tell them, but for whatever reason, couldn't, didn't, should have, but didn't. And it gives me an opportunity to have a conversation with them. And sometimes they tell me stuff that's really like wise thinking. And even though I'm the one that's in control of what's happening, it's as if they're telling me what I would have heard from them if they were there. Oh, Brenda says she enjoyed them. Did you do all three of them, Brenda? Each one is just a little bit different. They always have a theme, though. They always are, you're walking from one place to another. They always have somebody that you meet, and they always have an animal involved in the process. And the animal is your spirit animal. So if you always see the same animal, that's probably a very, very good sign that that is definitely your spirit animal. But sometimes we see an animal that embodies certain qualities that we have or would like to have, or have but don't acknowledge that we have. So keep those things in mind without controlling it too much. The third one uploaded probably during this class. Yeah, I think I had it scheduled, all three of them, to come out around 10 o'clock in the morning. So you'll probably find the third one, if you are interested in it after this, you'll see it uploaded into the system. So I'm going to say goodbye to everyone, unless somebody has a really burning question and can punch it up there in the next few seconds. I want to say goodbye to all of you and thank you again for joining me in this class. And I'll see you on Friday. Friday we're doing Yin Yoga. So it's going to be a real full Yin class. And I'm going to try to bring in there a few Yin stretches that we haven't, I don't think, done yet. If we have, it was a while ago. So come and see me on Friday. It's 1:30 Eastern Standard Time, and now we are on the daylight savings time. So if you have not adjusted your clocks to daylight savings time yet and where you live, you'll have to go an hour earlier than you did last week, because now I've moved my clocks ahead 1 hour. So take care, everyone. Namaste for coming and joining me. I love you all. Bye for now. See you next time.